All right, welcome to the third review of the evening. Also, technically speaking, the final review. Um, it's all in the next one's the impressions. Um, so, with that in mind, it is Half Past Fate: Romantic Distancing. Finding true love is hard enough when it's in person. Build a relationship through the screen as a couple copes with the lockdown life by staying connected online. Will their love be loud and clear, or will their signals fade away? Um, so try to guess when this was made and released.
Probably early 2020.
2021. Like, so,
Yeah, I guess it
yeah,
takes time to
right.
make a game.
Yeah. In fact, I think we got the actual code back then, but I think I distinctly remember putting the kibosh on this one because, actual lockdown was going on, and
Yeah.
I don't think I wanted to be reminded of it in my fiction. You know, even as a business obligation here. Now that it's 2024 and a bit of, ironically enough, distance is between us and the actual quarantine times. We can actually look at this thing a bit more objectively, I think. Um,
I suppose so.
Also, I think I think I assigned the actual code to Twilight back in the day. Like,
Mm.
Huh.
yeah, that's how long ago this was. As I said, sometimes games get put on ice for various reasons.
Hmm.
Also, this is one of the code site ones, so it's not like they could object to that directly.
Mm. So yeah, this is, I guess, technically an adventure game because you do walk around and inspect things and stuff, but it mostly goes by on dialogue and character stuff. There's not really any challenging puzzles or interactions, which is good because the inventory system is kind of clunky. You there the controls don't seem to be remappable, and it's like spacebar. First off, this is a keyboard only game. The mouse doesn't even work for the menu as far as I could find. Arrow keys move your character or menu options. Space is talk or advanced dialogue. Uh, what tab is open your inventory, and E is examine, and you can examine things in your inventory. But so far, admittedly, I did not get that far. You've never had more than like two things in your inventory at once.
Hmm.
So yeah, you play as Steven, who meets Robin a couple of days before the pandemic, trying to get his laptop fixed because he downloaded all of the WAV files off of CDs and stuff because he's not great with technology.
I mean, I literally went by a game store and he mentioned too much thinking,
Yeah,
so
yeah. He's a sweet, not super bright guy, I guess. And Robin is works at the store and a bit more technology inclined. But they have very similar tastes in music, so they hit it off and they arrange for a date. And the date turns out to be right after the pandemic ends up starting, or right after lockdown starts. So they're in lockdown, and they decide to try to continue their relationship for with online stuff. And it involved like Steven lives with his uncle, and Robin has roommates, and that's about all you get for the first. I mean, there are some time skips. It's not like you're going through the whole thing on a single day basis, but um, and then even though there's lockdowns, might be some opportunities for them to meet in person, but it's still stressful to be out when got to wear masks, got to social distance and stuff. It's while I cannot personally relate to any of this directly because I kept doing my job without many significant differences aside from masking, and I don't really date. Uh, the idea is relatable enough, and I can understand how stressful some of that stuff is. So yeah, I think there's. I honestly don't even know if there are actually multiple endings. You do get dialogue choices that make at least minor differences. Um, but not a whole ton of them. So the characters are nice. They're enjoyable people. You do swap control between them, so it's not like a dating sim where you only control one person, or a visual novel where there's only one character that's the actual protagonist. You go back and forth between the two of them. It actually pretty frequently swaps in like mid conversation, which is done pretty well. Um, since a lot of what they have in common is music, it's convenient that a lot of the music they like is chip tunes and indie stuff because it lets them include that kind of thing in the game. The music is it's mostly chip tuney, but it's pretty good. Um, I generally like the aesthetic um, of the pretty much flat pixel art, but moving around in a 3D space, kind of Paper Mario-ish wise. Although it's obviously not. The world is literally made out of arts and craft supplies aesthetic. It's just a almost want to say like Scott Pilgrimish, which is essentially modern, but in a kind of simplified cartoon style. Uh, so yeah, I don't. Obviously, if you're playing this, the main thing you're playing it for is the story and how you feel about a story about two people who meet shortly before a pandemic lockdown and then have to try to figure out how much of a relationship they're going to have and how they're going to do it while under significant societal and government pressure to, you know, not risk getting infected with the pandemic thing, is going to be like some people might have a really hard time with that. And honestly, this probably won't work for those people. But I find it interesting. I'm kind of curious where it's going and might see if I can find some time to play a little bit more. Um, do you guys have any questions? I'm having a little bit of a hard time finding much to say about it.
Not really.
Uh-huh.
It is a game of games.
Like if I had gotten to an ending or more endings, then I would probably still not want to tell people aside from saying whether it was good or not, because that's what you're playing it for, is the story. But yeah, I've been enjoying it so far. What are we talking about price wise, Adam?
$5.99, so $6.
Yeah, no, that sounds pretty reasonable for this. It seems like they put a decent amount of work into it. There's no voice acting, but the characters have multiple um, portraits while talking, and they are at least somewhat animated. So, or at least they have different expressions in addition to like different outfits, at least for the main characters. So yeah, that's about where if the story sounds interesting to you, which is again a huge caveat, I would recommend it. If the devs are listening, I would recommend, if possible, enabling mouse controls on the menus
Have they even
and
published a game since a
and
meta
maybe
game?
mapping some things. Like, it's good, but that is a little bit clunky.
An auto text scroll, but that's just a me thing.
Yeah, there are certain standard for visual novels nowadays, but didn't used to be, features that this doesn't have. Another one is I couldn't find a way to scroll up in dialogue. But I think it's still worth it. It just would be improved by adding those features. It also says it autosaves, so. But did not have
All
a
right.
manual save option I could find.
All right. So, is there anything else you wish to cover here, or good?
I think that's about it, yeah.
All right. So that'll about do it for romantic distancing. Be sure to tune in after the break as we give our impressions on Critter Code.